It has been almost 800 years since God gave his promise to Abraham that he would be made into a great nation. I wonder what Abraham would have thought if he knew then what it would take to make this promise happen. Well, in John 8:56, Jesus says that Abraham saw Jesus' day. I wonder, what exactly did Abraham see? And how much of what he saw was he able to understand? Whatever Abraham saw, it was enough for him to be glad. I wonder, would it have been enough for me? What are some strange things that your parents have said to you? We might hear things like, "When I was your age," or "Time seems to speed up the older you get," or "You may not understand this now, but you will when you get older." I used to hear those things and think that my parents were crazy, or that they were making excuses to justify a decision I thought was mean. But now I'm older, and guess what? Time is speeding up. I'm understanding things that I didn't have a clue about when I was younger. And yes, when I was your age. Abraham is part of a very large story. A story that God is telling, a true story. Many of the stories that we like to hear, read, or see in movies are about individuals. We are led to believe that our stories are the stories to be told. There is some truth in that, but this can distract us from the fact that there is a much bigger story being told that started long before we were born and will continue being told after we are gone from this earth. And the question is, what role are you playing in God's story? Are you playing it well? Are we learning from the stories that have come before us? And will we live lives of faithfulness for others to learn after us? In today's story, the great nation that was promised to Abraham is nearly a reality. The blessing part is still about 1,000 years off. But like I said, God is telling a story that is much bigger than any one person or any one generation. I wonder how many of the people in the Bible saw their lives as a part of a bigger story. Have you ever wanted the right thing for the wrong reasons? For example, suppose you want some exercise equipment. Your parents think, "Great, you want to have a healthy lifestyle." But what they did not realize is that you were incredibly vain. You wanted attention for looking good. You wanted to feel like you were better than others. You make fun of others. You want others to be jealous of how you look. There are many other examples of wanting the right things for the wrong reasons. Maybe you can think of some right wants for wrong reasons that you have had and discuss them in your classes. I would even go so far to say that none of our desires are ever completely pure. Even when I'm pursuing holiness, there is a part of me that is more interested in what others think. And this is vanity. This is sinful. We talk about heroes of the faith, but one thing the Bible shows us over and over is that even the heroes are really flawed people who are barely getting it right as they stumble around, battling sinful desires and fighting to obey, even if just for small windows at a time. There's another phrase that parents sometimes say, "You're getting what you asked for," or even a stranger saying, "You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it." This is kind of what is happening in our story today. The Israelites want something for the wrong reasons, and God is going to give them what they ask for. The amazing thing about this is that God is working through these obstinate people. He is doing it in a way that is gradually moving things towards a fulfillment of his promises. And though we are just as flawed and stubborn, we can fight to obey and can be sure that God is always making progress towards the fulfillment of all his promises. So I'll ask you again, what part of God's story are you living in? What is the role you will play? Will you play it well? Will you learn from those who came before you? And will you leave an example for those who come after you to follow? Help one another in your classes today, that you might become a generation that is known for loving and following Jesus.